episode 49 with Jennifer Keddy on the 9 Point Start the Dream podcast.
Welcome to 9 Point Started with a Dream podcast. Our goal is to showcase the stories of athletes and the community that supports them by being authentic about their journey. Here's your host, Jacoby Gillum.
Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host as always, Jacoby Gillum. This episode was a very inspiring one. We have Jennifer Keddy. She's an overseas volleyball player, super inspiring person, just about how she just said, I'm not giving up. Through all the adversity that she kind of faced, from the injuries to becoming a pro overseas to fighting cancer, she kept saying that I'm going to be the one that overcomes this. I'm going to use my story to be a reason that other people keep going for their journey. And that's what we're all about here and with the whole platform. So with us, this was a great one to kind of share and to really kind of be a part of. And we divided this episode into kind of two pieces. So you're gonna have part one here, then part two will be like in the next episode. So I hope you enjoy this episode. Hope you can get a lot of value from just hearing her story and hearing her passion. And let's get to it. When you're younger as an athlete, what one of the bigger dreams, the goal was going to achieve?
Oh my gosh. It's funny, actually, when I first started playing volleyball, I never in a million years thought I was going to be like playing in college. Like, I just played because I loved it so much. And my entire life I have played sports like soccer, and I loved sports. I have brothers that I played sports with. And so never in a million years did I think I was going to go Division I. And then it was like my freshman year of high school, I started playing like 7th grade, just for the school. But then my freshman year of high school, the local university, which was a Division I school, wanted me to play for them. And I was a freshman. And I was like, whoa, like it still didn't register to me. But that's when my parents were like, oh my gosh, like this could happen. Like, let's do this. And it didn't even really hit me that I was going to play college volleyball until I got to college. Like, even the whole recruiting process, I just would get a letter and I'd be like, here, mom, like take my letter. I don't really know like what this is. But then, I got to college and I always just wanted to get better as an athlete. I didn't really, I never was like, I want to be the best. It was always just like, I just want to be better. Like every day in practice, I want to compete. Like they're my teammates, but I want to, use them to get better, like for myself. And then I started to think like, okay, like I want to be in the Olympics. Like I want to do this. Like, let's train for this. So I would go to the USA national team tryouts that were for the college players. And I did that. I can't remember if it was 2 times or 3 times, but yeah, so that ended up being my major goal in college. But then I also, it was like my junior year. I'm going to be honest, college was pretty rough as far as volleyball goes, just because we went through a lot of coaching changes. And my junior year, I had a great season, but I was playing with a torn shoulder. Like every couple of swings I would take, my shoulder would just pop out. And it was just like, yeah. So that was rough. And then I had surgery. Oh, I don't even remember. I went to the national team tryout, like I said, in February. And then I had surgery. I didn't have surgery until July, actually, because I was just so desperate to be like, no, I can do this. I can do this. Like, it's fine. I'll just rehab it. But it was completely torn. Like, there was nothing I could do. So I had surgery in July and I did my rehab. I still had goals to, go to the Olympics and play after college. And about a week after I was cleared for my shoulder, 100%, a week later, they told me I had a broken foot. Ooh. So I hurried up and I got surgery, and I'm not going to say that the doctor messed it up, but I'm also not prepared to tell you that he didn't mess it up.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got you.
Yeah. So I get surgery on my foot and I'm rehabbing it. I'm doing everything I can to try and be back for season. I had surgery in May. I'm trying to be back for season, like mid-August is when we start competing. So mid-August comes around and I can barely walk. Like there's something wrong, but I don't want to accept it because I don't want to miss my last season. And so, because I redshirted my 4th year, and so now it's my 5th year. I can barely walk. My foot is messed up, but I'm like, no, like, let's do it. I'm playing. And finally, it got to the point where the doctor gave me a checkup. He told me, yeah, your foot is still broken. Like, in fact, it's like more broken because he stuck screws in my foot and yeah, basically broke my bone and it didn't heal. So I was playing on a broken foot, just like desperately trying to compete. And as soon as he told me that, I was like, you know what? I guess I'm done. So I had surgery in November during my 5th year. And after that surgery, like mentally, I was just like done. Like this is my last season. This is my last chance. Like I'm done playing volleyball. And that was, yeah, a pretty rough time for me. So emotionally.
To kind of like go back on that whole journey. So when you were in high school, right, I remember in an article you said you had your coach kind of yell at you for being too competitive.
Oh yeah.
So can you kind of explain what happened on that?
I like to think that I just like to push my teammates. No. So in high school in Montana, volleyball wasn't like a serious thing. And I think even at my age, even across the country, volleyball wasn't like a huge deal. But it's growing, as you know, every sport does, which is really cool. But in high school, I was so competitive and I didn't know how to communicate with my teammates effectively to get them to perform at a higher level. Like I wasn't like motivating them and inspiring them. I was just like barking at them, I guess you would say. Because I played club volleyball my junior year in Spokane, Washington, and it was super competitive. Like the girls were all going to D1 schools. Like we were a really good team.
Different mindset.
Yes, different mindset. Like that's how they communicated to each other, was like, let's go. Like there was no like feelings involved. It was just like, you need to step it up. And you know, like I still am a firm believer in that. Like I don't take anything personally like on the court, but so yeah, then I went back to Missoula for my senior year, and it was like from transitioning from that to high school again, I was like, I didn't register. I was just like, okay, it's the same. Like we're playing volleyball. Like let's do this. But most of those girls were playing for fun, you know? And yeah, there was one point my senior year where it got really bad. Like the coaches yelled at me in the locker room in front of everyone. But I don't really remember being aggressive. It was more like I was just like someone would make a mistake. Yeah, someone would make a mistake and I'd be like, no, like it's fine. Like keep going. But I guess they like took it wrong and I don't know. So that was really bad.
So I guess like for any athlete right now that's like out there, because I think there's certain athletes that have a mindset that we want to win, we want to be the best, like you were saying, and some people are just out there just for the extracurricular that have like a letterman patch, you know?
Right.
So if you're that athlete that's like you, what would you tell that person to keep, I don't know, just how to keep people in it or whatever it may be?
My first thing would be read the room. If you're in high school and you're, you know, acting like this, you just got to know the level you're at. Like if you're in high school, you're in club and, you know, not everyone's going to be amazing. You know, sometimes people make mistakes and you just have to accept that. But I definitely think whatever level you're at, there is a certain way to communicate with your teammates. Like, and everyone's different. Like if you yell at me and tell me to like I'm sorry if I cuss, by the way, sometimes it just comes out. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Because I almost just said the S word. And like if someone tells me to get my crap together, I'm not going to be like offended. I'm probably going to, in my mind, be like, you know what, you're right. Like I need to step it up. But if you say that to someone else, like they might go cry and like take it really like to heart and not be able to perform after that. So like, you just have to know each of your teammates. That's kind of how I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So this senior year, you know, so that freshman year, what was that? What was everyone around you kind of have that same mentality you had when you get to college, or no?
on my team, I think we struggled a lot with like people, like playing time issues and people thinking they deserve to play without doing the work, or, you know, in my mind. So my freshman year, I go to college. My coach wants me to play, and that's like fine and dandy, but I wasn't performing well. And so I stopped playing. And at first I was like, why am I not playing? Like, this sucks. But then, and I was like, okay, like, what do I need to do to play? Like, I went, and then after that, I went to practice every day, you know, ready to compete, ready to get better. I wanted to be better. I would go in the gym on my own time, and I would practice serving or doing like volleyball by myself, which is very difficult. I was just constantly working on my game, and I would go in the weight room and do stuff on my own. I would do rehab. I did what I needed to do to play. And then I started playing, and I, from then on, started every game about a quarter of the way into our conference. So, and I think a lot of times, like, it wasn't, if someone was on the bench, it was always about them. It wasn't about the team. It wasn't about the girl that's on the court in their position, like them wanting the girl to do well. It was like, I hope that she fails so I can go in the game. That's kind of how, that's how I personally took it. And that was like my entire college career. And we didn't have a healthy, like, what is it called? I just blanked on the word. Like the chemistry of the team.
Camaraderie, whatever.
Yeah. Yes, it was not healthy. And maybe that's because of coaching changes, different personalities, you know. But I just think, yeah, we struggled a lot with that. And we could have been really, really good, but we never like got to the point where we were a real team, if that makes sense.
I've been looking more into volleyball too, and I'm realizing that you can't win alone in volleyball.
Oh no,
yeah.
You literally can't touch the ball twice in a row. Like you need your team. Like, and that's the cool thing about it too, is like it's not just like basketball where you can dribble down the entire court and on your own. Like, yeah, that's the cool thing about volleyball, but it's also the bad thing about volleyball if you don't have a like good chemistry. So that's super important, but it's really cool. You know.
For you with the college journey, you know, how did you figure, all right, I'm going to make the transition to go overseas?
It actually was very random. Also, I'm sorry if I ramble because I talk a lot, and I'm sorry. So
it's all about you. No worries.
Okay. Oh, thank you. Your words, not mine. No. So it was really random. One of my teammates was actually going to play overseas, and her coach reached out to me and was like, hey, we need a middle blocker. Like, can you play? And it never crossed my mind before that. And so I started training, but I didn't have any video from college because of the coaching transitions and the fact that I didn't play my last year. And so I never was able to get video. But then so I didn't end up going to play for him, but as soon as like he put that in my mind, I was like, how can I do this? And so I started doing research, and I ended up going on a tour in Slovenia, and it was like a 10-day tour where you're playing, and it's like with a bunch of girls. I don't know how many girls were there, but you're playing. There's coaches that are on the live web feed. There's coaches that are in person, and it's basically like college recruiting all over again. So it's a 10-day thing, and they can take you on day 1, they can take you on day 10. And I think I was taken on day 3 to Finland. And that was kind of the start of my professional career in Rovaniemi, Finland, which is literally in the North Pole. That's where Santa lives, is what they say. And I didn't see the sun for 5 months.
Oh, 5 months.
Yeah.
You come from California too to go to just
San Luis Obispo, 70 degrees all year, and I went to -30. But it was a fun adventure.
What was your expectation going overseas? What was your thought process on what it would be like being a pro athlete?
Oh my gosh. It never even like registered to me that my title was now pro athlete, but I was so nervous to play volleyball again. And that was like a big struggle for me too. Like mentally, there was just like this block where it was like, am I good enough to do this? Like what?
And where'd that start from? Just that mental block? The injuries or just people
just
around?
The injuries? No, the injuries. I mean, Yeah, I was like Derrick Rose trying to come back from a knee injury that he was healed from, but like just like couldn't get. I hope he doesn't hear this. I'm sorry, Derrick, Mr. Rose, whatever you
Oh,
want.
oh no, you're good. Because I was the same way. 'Cause, like my ACL, my dream was football, but I was scared to get out there and tear it again. So I was like, I'm gonna run track and run straightaways.
Yeah, like I mean, it was for sure from the injuries and just like I literally had 3 surgeries in a year and a half. And it was like the shoulder one was fine. Like, yeah, I just, after the foot surgeries, after the surgery that may have been messed up, and then having the surgery to fix it, it was just like, I'm done. And like, also, I don't even know if it was the injury per se, but it was me trying to play with a broken foot and literally not being able to do what I was able to do before. Like that probably took the biggest toll on me emotionally and mentally because I was trying to play, like I was desperately trying to play volleyball and I could not even walk. Like, and I was trying to jump and hit the ball and like I just physically wasn't able to do it. And I finally accepted that, and I think that's where that like comes from mostly.
But you didn't give up though.
I did not give up. I mean, okay, I'll be honest, I did a little bit because after that I was like, I'm done playing. And it wasn't until that coach reached out to me that was like, am I done playing? And that's when I was like, no, I'm not. Here we go. So
now you're overseas. You're in the cold land. You know, you're new language, new culture. How did you learn to adjust?
Well, I grew up in Montana, so weather-wise, it wasn't bad. And to be honest, my daily activities consisted of going to practice in the morning, coming back and eating, sleeping, watching Netflix, and then going to practice in the evening and doing that every single day. So I wasn't really like outside much. But I mean, there was definitely some culture shocks, like the language. I don't know if you've ever heard Finnish, but have you ever played Sims?
No.
Do you know what Sims is?
I do know what Sims is, yeah.
Okay, so like when they talk to each other, it literally sounds like like a minion. And the Finnish people, like that's exactly what they sounded like. And it blew my mind. But I didn't really have any. The hardest part was definitely being away from family and friends and just like, yeah, for 9 months.
Was there any other like Americans with you, or were you the only American? Okay.
Yes, I did. I did have an American on my team. That was my roommate as well, and we are still friends to this day. Bless her heart, she still hangs out with me. So,
homies for life.
Yeah, exactly. We went through some stuff together.
We're kind of going back, you know, how you said you were really driven and competitive. Was we had like the overseas team? Was that the same mindset people had over there, or is it still a little bit hit or miss?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it was definitely, again, everyone's different. So, but my team in Finland they were very much like that, and it was awesome. I mean, like, I remember, I'll never forget this. In practice one day, there was a ball that was specifically my responsibility, and I didn't get the ball. And one of my teammates literally said to me, "Jenny, you have one job." And I, like, as soon as she said that, I was like, oh, I was like, you're right. But I will never forget that. It was awesome, though. Like, I just look back and it was awesome. But yeah, it was definitely like that. But it was so fun. Like, there's no hard feelings on the court. Like, you're just there, you're doing your job, you're doing your best, and like, your teammates are going to push you because we want to win, right? Like, yeah, so that was cool.
So how did the overseas journey go from there? Like how many years you played overseas?
4, 5. I guess this would technically be my 5th. It's weird because all the seasons are different lengths, so I'm like, year wise, I don't really know. Like, I guess it would be 5, but yeah.
So season length. So you said there was like what, 3 months and 9 months? What, like how?
Yeah. So in Europe, the seasons are 9 months or 8 to 9 months. I mean, they're long. But then when you go to countries like China or the Philippines, I think they're like 3 to 6 months. But yeah, it just depends. And of course, teams can take you halfway through the season and then you're there for 4 months, you know? So it depends on the situation. But for my first 3 seasons, I was in Europe and I did usually like 8 to 9 months. And it was really long. Yeah, it was really long. But I mean, you usually don't get a Christmas break. So that's a bummer. But yeah, so my first 3 seasons there. So I went from Finland to the Czech Republic. And then I went from the Czech Republic to Germany. And as soon as I finished in Germany, a week later, I went to the Philippines for a month and a half. And then a month later, I went back to Germany to a different team. So that was kind of a long, crazy volleyball time. But
a little Euro trip.
Yes, I was all over the map. It was really cool. I mean, I was experiencing new countries that I would never think to go to. So, I mean, that was the cool part about it.
This is the end of part 1 of Jennifer Keddy's story. Head over to listen to part 2.
Yo, thanks for listening to this episode of the 9 Point Started With a Dream podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please comment, share, leave a review. We would love to hear your thoughts. You can find more athlete-driven content at 9point.com. Till the next episode, you're only one opportunity away. Peace.